So I just graduated college, and one of the things that got me through it was this iPad. This is an iPad 9. I did all my notes on this thing. I marked up textbooks. I used OneNote a lot. And this was all my note taking. However, one thing that I really noticed was not only was I note taking on it, but I was also watching YouTube, and also I was connected to text messages. So sometimes, like during class, I would just look at my text to see what was up. Sometimes I'd browse on the web. And so having such a multi-purpose device, although it was really great, I did have issues with focus, right? If I have a tool that can do everything, sometimes the capability to be distracted opened up. So when I was deciding for what to get for my next piece of tech, right, as I move on to the next stage of my career, I wanted to look at something that was a little bit more focused and intentional. And so with that, I looked into e-ink tablets. So if you don't know, basically an e-ink tablet is a thing that's like a Kindle in a nutshell. The main appeal of e-ink devices, first off, it's all about the display. So the display of e-ink devices, like think about like a Kindle or something. So they usually have like a really low refresh rate. Most of them are black and white, although a lot of color models are coming out now. But with the lower refresh rate and also just the technology as a whole, it's a lot more distraction free when compared to like an iPad. So actually, just recently, it came yesterday. I got this Boox Go 10.3. So I wanted to do a quick run through of what I like about it, my first impressions as someone who is coming from an iPad. So one of the first things I wanted to cover with this device is how I went about choosing which e-ink device to get. So I put a lot of thought into what device I would choose. I was originally looking at companies like Supernote. So some of the things that I were looking for in an e-ink tablet, one of the main things was a 300 ppi display. That's just basically the resolution of the display. So a little bit about the products that I was looking at before this. I was originally going to get the A5X2 by Supernote, but that product is delayed currently, and if it was out, I probably would buy it just because I really like the Supernote team. I really like the company as a whole. I feel like they're very open and transparent, and I like that their software roadmap is publicly available, and the community seems really nice, but the device just wasn't out. And maybe later on in the future I'll buy the A5X2 when it finally comes out. But in the meantime, while I was waiting for that, I also did look at the Kindle Scribe. I thought the Kindle Scribe was really cool, especially because it was so cheap. They're so cheap on Amazon, especially if you trade in a Kindle. I think you save like 10% or something, which is nuts. So definitely like the cheapest option. But the main functionality I was looking at was for editing PDFs. And the Kindle Scribe has some weird send to PDF stuff that like not all PDFs are markable, and it seems really annoying. Like you'd have to plug it into the computer, I think. So I was pretty set on getting a Kindle Scribe, honestly. And then Boox announced this device. So this is a 10.3 inch e-reader, which was what I was looking for. It's Android based, so it has a Play Store, so I could get everything I wanted on there. And it's a 300 ppi screen, which I really liked. And also one of the main things is it has a really minimal display. But I feel like a lot of the other e-ink tablets that Boox has released have been super ugly. At least in the US, they've been black. They've been like green and orange on the Boox Note Air 2 Plus, which is, I think, really gross. I don't really like it. And some of their smaller tablets, like the Boox Palma or like the Boox Leaf 2, which I have, those have like really minimal like white displays and like minimal branding, and I really liked that, and I really liked that in the Supernote. But Boox hadn't made a 10.3 inch tablet in the US that looked like that. But then Boox announced this series, and I loved the design of it, and it met all the functionality. Okay, so this is what the tablet looks like. So super minimal. So this is the case. This is like a pen cover thing that honestly I don't really like, especially because you can just pull it out, which I don't know if I really like, honestly. I understand like it's there to like help with bags and stuff, and there's magnets here and on the other side, which I really like. But I feel like I'm just gonna lose this thing in like a week, so maybe I'll keep it in my backpack. As for the device itself, this is the case that it came with. You can see, at least maybe it doesn't show on video, but it feels super thin and light, especially compared to my iPad, which is really surprising. If you want a size comparison, yeah, this is my iPad 9. The screen's really gross, so please ignore it. But they're basically the same size. Here's the thickness of the iPad 9, and here's the thickness of the Go. Yeah, I would say Boox really nailed like the minimal premium feel of this, which is interesting because it's like their lower end of tablets. And so, yeah, this is what the device looks like when you open it. One notable thing about this device is it does not have a front light, which is interesting because compared to, like, this is my Boox Leaf 2. This is like the primary e-reader that I use. I love it, but this has like a front light, and you can basically light it up, right? But this doesn't have that at all. So obviously that's like a downside of this tablet, like having no front light. However, without having that front light, there's less layers between you and the screen. So it actually makes the writing feel better, which I think some people may enjoy. I know that's why Remarkable and Supernote don't have front lights. So I feel like this was Boox's attempt at trying to reach out to that market. So this is how I initially had the device set up. This is literally like day one that I've had it. So I did a couple of things. I installed some apps. So let me just show you what a PDF looks like. So I just have a folder with all my PDFs right now that's synced up to my computer. So I don't know if you can tell, but the display, sorry, this is on my phone, but the display is awesome. It's really sharp. It's 300 ppi, and I'm really enjoying it. For PDF marking up, like, it's super simple. Like, they have this toolbar, and then you can choose like whatever type of pen you want. And let's say I want to highlight, and I can highlight there or whatever, and I can maybe like say like wow or something like that. And then when I close this document, since I have it synced up with SyncThing, it automatically annotates it in my computer as well, which is super cool, so I can view it on there. So I haven't gotten too much experience writing with the PDFs on this, just because I literally got this yesterday. But I am excited to work on it. So some other things that I'm using this for, I am really interested in using this for manga. So originally when I tried reading Berserk on this e-reader, like, I really enjoyed it, but some of the art is super dense. This isn't the best example of that. But having it on bigger screen and also having them be both of the same resolution of 300 ppi, it looks great. It looks super sharp. I think the Go 10.3 is going to be my go-to for like really dense illustrations. I still say that I really love the Leaf 2 for the page turning buttons and all that stuff, but I am excited to try reading manga on the 10.3 and seeing if I prefer it for any series. I'm also planning on reading like magazines more. So for instance, this is called Libby. This is using basically like your library card. I can literally just pull up something with Libby, like let's say New Yorker. Takes a second to load, but yeah, you can literally read the news on here. And if it's too small, what's really nice about Libby is it has this article mode, which you can just read everything really nicely. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that as well. Yeah, I would say coming from an iPad and writing on this, it feels really different. So I had like the writing screen protector thing on my iPad, and this feels so much better. It's much faster too. So like, for example, like, I don't know, like what is up? Like, it's just super fast. It feels really fun to write on, and there's like a lot of give, which I really enjoy. And it does feel a lot like paper. It feels definitely a lot more like paper than my iPad. I'm not sure how it compares to other devices, but I'm really enjoying it. And I was just showing this to friends yesterday, and we were all super surprised with how quick it was and responsive it was, and how much it felt like paper. So this made note-taking feel really fun, which I think is super important. Yeah, so that's just a quick intro on the Boox Go 10.3. It's kind of more of an introduction to people who aren't familiar with e-ink as a whole. I think later on I might make a more detailed video showing like my workflow once I figured it out. But this is more of like my initial thoughts on the books. I think a lot of people have asked me like my iPad can do this, right? Like, my iPad can mark up PDFs. It can do more than that. One of the reasons that I'm opting for a device like this is because this way I won't get sucked into watching YouTube or checking my messages or checking my email because the refresh rate is so low. So having like devices that are more single focused is really important to me. I think it's like one of the core tenets of like digital minimalism. Like instead of having a device that's full of all these distractions, having devices that are more like single use, so I'm not distracted from the work that I'm supposed to be doing. Like never on this tablet will I be writing notes and then be like, oh, let me check my text or something like that. I do think it's also fun to use e-ink for a sense of enjoyment. I like reading a lot, so it was important to me that I have manga and other stuff on this device as well. But overall, I'd say I would definitely recommend this tablet. I do think it's really important to note that I know that Boox doesn't disclose, specifically Boox doesn't disclose all of its use in the Linux kernel or something like that, so it's a little bit sketchy. I've also heard mixed things about the customer service. Me personally, I actually had a really good customer service experience when the screen on my Leaf 2 died, and for some reason, and I had to ship it out to them, and they repaired it, and it was super painless, and I really enjoyed it. But I've heard a lot of people that said mixed things about the customer service. I am also eagerly waiting to see the Supernote A5X2. I think that maybe at some point I would like to consider purchasing the A5X2. But as for right now, this device is currently out. It's built on Android, which I really like, and it's at a really low price point. I think I paid with duties and stuff. I paid like $400 for this, which is a really low for e-ink. So I think if you're on the fence about getting one of these devices, I say try it out. I don't know if I'm going to really miss the front light. I use the front light a lot on my Leaf 2, so I don't know if I'm going to miss the front light on this device. But I would say just from like aesthetics alone, like core functionality, all that stuff, like it's just day one. But I'm really excited to use this tablet. And I think the number one key is like if something has a good design and like feels inviting for me to use it, like I think I will use it. So I'm really excited to use this device. And if anyone has any questions about this device or moving from iPad to like a device like this, just let me know. Just comment something and I'll get back to you. But thanks for watching the video. Take care. Peace out.